It's now 6:30. I'd like to call this July 10th City Council Work Session to order. Could I have a roll call, please?
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Present.
Councilperson Thomas? Councilman Orchakowski?
Here.
Mayor Mosher?
Present.
Mayor, we note 4 members present, 1 absent, and no quorum.
Thank you. This time I'd like to invite Pastor Kuster to the front to lead us in prayer.
I thought I gave mine there. It was actually yours.
There we go. Amen. Would you pray with me tonight? Lord, we just want to give thanks to you. Just spend a moment or two to just thank you for the positive, good, wonderful things that are taking place in this life in Monessen. We have so much to give thanks for. We're not in a war. There's no plague passing through the population. There's no massive civil unrest. There's peace. So we're grateful for this. And you've given us a start, another week here to work on the life here. And so I pray that you would give tonight wisdom right from your throne to the good council members who the citizens have selected here to work on in our behalf life here in Monessen. Unless you build the house, they that labor in vain, they will just labor in vain because you're not building it. But tonight, put your thoughts in their heads and bless them, I pray. So we thank you for all these good things, and we ask you for this sort of assistance right tonight. We ask this because of your amazing, continued watch, care, and love for the people in this room, the people in this city, and all that pertains to it. Amen. And amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, sir.
There's minutes that have been distributed to everybody for June the 12th and June 26th. When ready, appreciate a motion to accept them.
Mayor, motion to approve the minutes for the previous session of June 12th, 2025 and June 26th, 2025.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes. At this time, I'd like to invite public comment to the mayor on agenda items only, limited to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Ernie Telegraphers, 29 Rex. Page 3, Councilman Tony. This deed says motion to pay the following invoices from the grant fund. Where is this grant fund from?
Police.
The
It's
police
police.
has 13,000?
Yes, not how much it is. The police have. I'll report it later, but it's 158,000.
They got 158,000.
Yeah, they get it from drug busts and from the county and everything else.
Then how come they're not buying their own inventory? They're all,
Because they have a strict requirement on what they can spend the money on and what they can't spend the money on.
so they can't buy no other vehicles.
Not out of that money you can't.
No. Could they buy?
It's just not an open piggy bank that they have money to spend on it. They have criteria where they can spend things on, and that's not set by us. That's set by the state and then the county, mostly the county. I think it's the district attorney.
It's the federal government.
Oh,
Hey,
a little bit
Chief.
higher, a little bit higher than.
Hey, Chief, you could buy a tear gas gun, can't you?
Oh, you and your
With
tear
this?
gas.
You can't. That has to do with police.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
And if you read attachment D on there, Ernie.
I didn't get the D, but go ahead.
Okay, but it tells you that it's for tactical radio equipment.
That's all.
Read it.
You know, there should be a lot more they could do with it, but anyway.
That's what they're doing right now with it. Give them a chance.
All right, now, this goes back to, 50,000, 2 DCED single applications, purchase of 2 new police vehicles. So, they can't use none of their 158,000? It's on, page 2F.
Not for police vehicles, they can't, and there's.
They can't use that at all.
There's a discussion about that, so you wanna wait till the discussion on that?
Okay, then number LSA grant application. What's that about? It doesn't say.
That's what we'll talk about when we get to it.
We just talked about asking you to
Yeah, I know,
ask
but you
questions
guys got
about
too
things.
much vague stuff here.
And
And
at the end, you can ask
it all is
questions.
explained when they get to that section.
Okay, now, here's another one for the mayor.
Good.
Mon Valley EMS. What's wrong with it? Are they still underwater?
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. We'll talk about that in a few minutes.
You just say general issues. You gotta give us a clue. Yeah, one last one. Who needs the Kabuto tractors for streets? What's that about?
Those are the tractors they use to mow with.
Or, aren't they working? The ones we got?
We'll talk about that when we get to that too.
You better be all in detail now. Okay.
Thank you, Aaron. Anybody else? All right, let's continue on then. It's been a rather interesting couple weeks since we met here before. We had a major storm that occurred, and that's probably one of the primary things that happened. That major storm brought something on the order of 3 inches of rain in a period of 4 hours. That much rain all at once is just coming down by the bucket loads, and it did cause a lot of water problems, water issues throughout the city. To that end, there's about 9 different sites that I've directed the engineer to work on to address some of those issues, and that's been a big part of what's taken place. Above and beyond that, I also had some conversations with EMS, which we'll talk more about in a few minutes, and George Newsom and Dennis Martinak with the STAMP program, which we'll also talk about in a few minutes. With that, I think that we'll get on with it. This has been a tough period for a lot of different people. Our EMS has done an outstanding job in supporting us. When I say EMS, I'm talking about EMS in general. We have not only the Mon Valley EMS that supports us here, but we have Ross Draver, Tri-County, Washington. There's a number of EMS services that come to the aid. There's been some discussion about whether our EMS is addressing enough of the issue. And I would like to make it very clear to everybody that if you take the 911, when you make a call to 911, they basically go through a series of questions. Is this serious? What's the problem? You know, you have a problem breathing, heart attack, whatever the case may be. And they assign a priority to that. And that priority has some suggested time periods that they expect the EMS to arrive in. And I would like to say that in almost every single case in the last month, an EMS has arrived within the time frame that the 911 asks that they be responded to. And that ranges anywhere from 15 minutes to as little as 5 minutes. There's only one case, I think, that I saw in all the records that was longer, and that was for a very minor incident. But with that said, if you look at the statistics, and this comes directly from 911 Center in Greensburg. When you call 911, they keep very detailed records about what transpires with that, what the problem is, who's dispatched, when they acknowledge the dispatch, when they arrive on site, when they depart from on site, when they go, where they go, and all the way back to when they report back in quarters. It's very detailed, and they're all time-stamped events that is logged with a lot of precision. The point being is, it looks to me like the EMS, as good as they are, has some room for improvement, and I don't think that they would deny that. What I would like to suggest is that we and this is really something that was put together at their request, a advisory board or whatever you want to call it. This advisory board would basically consist of 3 or 4 people that would meet periodically and give advice to the Mon Valley EMS on how they might improve or some of the problems that they've run into. To that end, I would suggest that John Nestor, being our public safety person, be on that board. I would also suggest that Delmar Heppel and Chief Uhas be on that board. And if he would accept it, I would also suggest that Michael Single, our EMA emergency coordinator, is also on that board. That would be 4 people that I think are very well in tune to what's going on, how it functions, and what needs to be done to make improvements. To that end, I would also suggest that the numbers that we got from Greensburg were 82%, that our Mon Valley EMS responded to 82% of the calls that were made by 82%. I asked them, is that normal for a thing? They couldn't even give me that answer. They just said, all we look at is yours. I would like to suggest that with the help of the visionary, I'd like to give them a goal that over the course of the next 6 months, they raise that up to 90%. And that would be the goal that I would ask that everybody work with. Now, the problem that we have is not unique to Menneson, not by any stretch of the imagination. The ambulance EMS services nationwide are having the same problem that we're having here. They're having the problem throughout the state. They're having the problem throughout the county. It is a problem. I don't want to see us go like Jeanette did, where all of a sudden you have no EMS at all. That is not an option that I'm willing to comply with. I want to see this work. I want to see them thrive. I want to see them profitable. And that's the goal that I would like to establish. Is there anybody else on council who would like to add anything else to that?
I attended a meeting there last night, just as an informational meeting, and I was really grateful that you invited me, and I learned a lot about it. And I think it's important we have their presence here in Menneson, because I think it seems like a lot of the people that are employed there and volunteers are from Menneson, so they have a commitment to this. And I understand that this has been around since 1969, which is a long time. So I'm, again, grateful you invited me, and I think it's whatever we can do to help and work on a plan would be good.
Anybody else? Let's continue on then. The stamp program. I also had the pleasure of having lunch with George Newsom and Dennis Martinick earlier this week. George Newsom being the DCED coordinator for the stamp program, and Dennis Martinick being the person that we've selected for running our program this year. Now that will be voted on 2 weeks from today. So I'm talking a little bit in pretense.
Yeah, we didn't vote on anybody.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It'll be 2 weeks. 2 weeks we will do this. Now, to that end, I also had a very good conversation with people in Sharpsburg. Sharpsburg is a borough. They're about half the size we are, but nonetheless, they've been through the stamp program. And I talked to them for quite some time, spent quite a bit of time on the phone with them. They have nothing but positive things to say about the stamp program. And the one thing that you really got to understand is the stamp program is not the EIP program, or EI, whatever it was, the early intervention program. It is not that. That is not what it is. The stamp program is a program that has been redesigned by the state, and it's one in which the council and the community as a whole determines what the problems are within the city, and there's a whole process that goes through with economic analysis and so forth. But in the end, they will identify, and it's basically a cooperative effort with everybody involved, the issues within the city that need to have investment made into them. And the neat thing about the stamp program is for every dollar you put in, they put in $9. So it's a fantastic opportunity to work with. Dennis and George are here. I'd like them, George, do you have anything you'd like to add to this, or? No, this one. That doesn't work very well.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for having me here again. Sorry for the hoarseness. It is bad allergy season for me, so if you hear a snort, I apologize in advance. But if any of this sounds familiar to you, then that's a good thing, because we presented initially this before a couple of months ago. STAMP is the acronym for Strategic Management Planning Program. Local government, or the state, I should say, talks in acronyms all the time, and I don't always know what we're talking about, but we have a ton of acronyms that we use. This program, council applied to the state for, and what it does is it gives you a roadmap, kind of a foundation for how to achieve more projects for your community. And for instance, you can't just, apply to the state and say, hey, we want A, B, C, and D, and get it there. There's a whole process that has to take place. And STAMP is that process. What you've done to date is you've received the funding for the STAMP grant, which is a great thing. You've already been awarded that. So now you're in the process of choosing a consultant to take you through that process. What the consultant does is as the mayor said, is they'll take you through 6 steps of a deep dive into your finances, financial operations, audits, multi-year adoption, and a 5-year implementation planning, and all that good stuff. It takes probably about a 4 to 5 month process to get all that completed. When they're done with that, they're going to have a lot of recommendations, and I have one done in the city of Latrobe. When they're done, you get a nice little booklet, kind of like this, and it has all these beautiful recommendations as in the conclusionary part of the document. And this one done for Latrobe has 90 recommendations in it, and you have to have the recommendations on paper, because recommendations create projects and projects create funding. I have to say that again because that's important. Recommendations create projects and projects create funding. And so as long as it's in the recommendations, it can be possibly fundable. Doesn't mean it's always going to be fundable, but it has more of a chance to get funding if it's in the recommendations. So what you guys will do with your consultant, you guys are choosing to hire the consultant. You're going to work closely with the consultant and say, hey, we want you to look at this in the city. We want this to be a potential project. We want you to look at this in the city. We want this to be a codification of ordinances, updating the IT. Maybe all the police need new computers in their cars. I don't know. Maybe you need better recordable devices for your council chambers. I don't know. Maybe you need more computers upstairs, to run your finance. Maybe you need new software, those kind of things, So those kind of things, if they're in the recommendations, they become projects, and they can be fundable. So I'm here to take you through that process. I'm here the whole way through. You can, I guess you can apply for any amount of recommendations as long as you've closed out the previous recommendation. So if you apply for one thing, you close it out, you can apply for another thing. You close it out, you apply for another thing, close it out. They all become subsequent phases. And you can do that for up to 5 years. I'll be with you for at least 5 years throughout this process that you'll be going through. And I'll be working with the mayor and with Mike to go through that process, or whoever else you guys deem that I'll be working with as a point of contact person. That's fine with me. I'm local. I'm not far away. I live about a mile away from Kennywood Park, so it's about a 45 to 50 minute drive to get here. That's not a problem. And that's me. So I want to turn this over to Dennis, too, so he can talk, about some of the recommendations and some of the projects, that, some of the consultants have helped, communities, get funding for. Does that make sense? Anybody, any questions about anything I just said? And you can always call me. The mayor and Mike have my contacts. I respond to council and to residents, answer questions as well. Anybody can call me, and that's not a problem. Email is probably best, but you can certainly call me. I like to keep an email so we don't have any miscommunication about your inquiries and how I answer them. I like to keep a record of that. So there's no problems with he said, she said stuff. Any questions for me at this point? Okay, I'll turn it over to Dennis.
Thank you, George.
Thank you.
Thanks, George. I just want to follow up on our meeting the last time I was here. In that time, I know it's under consideration. I provided a scope of work based on the information. As George had mentioned, it follows the stamp process. And then also one of the unique items that we looked in there was there's a component we're going to be looking at, and it's for economic development in a number of different aspects within the city and how that ties into the stamp process. But Tony, I know you had a question last time on the some of the successes, and George had mentioned it. I did have a conversation with Elizabeth Borough, and one of the recommendations was to hire a borough manager, and I did talk to Scott, who's now the new borough manager. Scott's been down there for quite a while. So he gave me some things that they have done. They've written a number of grants based on recommendations in the plan, and they've been funded for them because of the plan, and George had mentioned that. They sold it. Now again, a lot of these are unique to different municipalities. Some in Menneson will have their own recommendations, but they had a sewage plant that they sold, which was they made, well, they had debts they had to pay, but it was $28 million. So they did do that. They did contract police services from Elizabeth Township. They had an area in the town, I don't know if anybody is familiar with Elizabeth, but there was an area down there that they called the Hole, but basically there was a building there, and it was kind of an eyesore for the longest time. Through our recommendations of the stamp, they were able to recover $750,000 that was kind of lost in that process, and now they've turned that into one of what used to be an eyesore into one of the jewels in downtown. It's a community park right in the middle of town. So that came out of that. He said they became more efficient with the budget. Now they carry a surplus from year to year, which is something that they didn't do. And also because of their successes through DCD and George, they received an additional year of program to codify the borough's ordinances. So now they're continuing to move on to some of those things. So I know that you'd asked, but these are just some of the things that came to mind right off the top of, from some of the things they did with that. Again, the stamp program is, I can't really add too much more to that. I think it is for the projects we've worked on, we've seen a lot of successes in it, and I think it would be something that could help the city out.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you.
One of the other things that we talked about briefly at the last meeting is the use of a printer here, and our printer is that we have that generates all the paperwork that you have in front of you today. The lease is running out on it, and we started looking at other printers, and it boiled down to coming down to two different vendors, which we'll talk about more in a minute, have really gotten into the point that they've dropped their price significantly over what we're charging, and they're going to allow us to do color first off and black and white with no charge. In other words, they said we could mail out a color brochure to everybody in town every week, and there would be no charge for toner or anything else. They would cover it. There's no per page print cost. It is a fantastic opportunity. It is better deal than I've ever seen anybody else get. But we got two companies that have come forth and offered that to us. So we're trying to determine between the two, and we'll present that to council before the next meeting that we have for further consideration. If anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to talk about them. The next one is, animal control, and I'll be real honest, I don't really know that much about this, particular process. Chief, would you like to come up and explain a little bit about what we have going on with that? That mic there. Give me about about dead. Somebody be talking and run out. Explain to me what we've got going on and what we need to do.
I think we need to, whenever the contract opens up with our current animal control, the all but forgotten, that we possibly look in different avenues.
Okay.
We're having some difficulties at times, getting a response. We have to go outside the box. For an example, the animal cruelty thing we had on a couple Saturdays ago, we had to seek assistance from other entities to assist us. So I know a little bit, enough to get me in trouble. I have signed, or one of my officers is very key to this, and she is very passionate about the dogs and the cats and the animals, and that's Officer Schrader, which I sort of kind of appointed to deal with Joy to start to see what other options we have.
Okay.
That's where I'm at with that.
Okay. I know we have a contract right now, and I think that contract went to the end of this year or the end of next year, but it had many ways out of
I think it's the
it.
end of this year.
Many ways out of it if necessary.
2026.
2026, yeah.
There's a 30-day notice to terminate.
Right.
Okay.
So we do have and there's many promises they made that perhaps haven't been
Yeah,
followed
and that's
up on.
something I have to sit down. Officer Schrader works tomorrow, and I'll give her the copy of the contract I have. It's been very hectic the last few days.
Okay.
So, and maybe just give her, use it as a checklist to see if they are meeting the criteria. If they're not meeting the criteria, well,
If she can give us a recommendation of any action we need to take at the next meeting, that would be marvelous.
okay, I'll give her some homework.
Okay?
Okay?
Thank you very much.
You're
So,
welcome.
I have a question.
Yes.
This is the first time we're hearing about this, that I'm signing a check every month to the place. If there was a problem, why didn't somebody speak up a long time ago whenever I was writing checks?
Well, first off, I think it's been every 4 months you get a bill from them,
No.
according to Joy, what I got.
We just deal with what we can deal with. You know, at times if we can't get a response, we go on, we carry on. We just have to get the problem solved.
That's fine, but if the problem isn't forwarded to us, we can't solve to make sure you don't have a problem anymore.
That's what we're doing right at this time.
Yeah.
We're going ahead and paying for checks that we're not getting anything out of.
I mean, you have, you have a little bit of leverage in saying, look,
Well, then now's your time, now's your chance.
We'll just do that going forward if you don't
Yeah,
mind.
we'll just,
Thank you.
yeah, that's just something.
I'm not blaming what you're doing, I'm just
No.
saying,
Okay,
Thank you.
all right.
No.
You had to, I direct you to Joe.
No.
If necessary, we will. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Now we've got our 2 DCED applications for a total of $50,000. These are somewhat unique. Do you wanna try to explain these, Mike?
Basically, what this entails is DCED, under their enterprise grant program, offers grants under the single application process, but they are not competitive. What they are grants that will be awarded if you submit, and they contacted both the chief and myself to submit these applications, and we're working on, in fact, tomorrow to submit it, in total, for the $50,000 for the purchase of the 2 new police vehicles. This would be 2.
So, where,
Chief, if,
where,
Yeah, let's come back. It probably won't be tomorrow. I am waiting for the,
Okay.
Come on here, you can use his mic.
Get you a lapel mic.
Need to quote you with mine.
You can take
all right,
yours.
I'm waiting on a quote from, Rallies, which Rallies was bought out by a company on 51, Team Nuts. And they took over the old Rallies, and this lady I've been doing, we just got all the cradle points installed in the cars. Everything's perfect on that aspect. So she is preparing a quote for to match the same equipment as in all the cars, installation, plus I've been in talk with Brian up at C. Harper, bought a price of, he asked what model year, I says, well, with it being a grant, it's probably gonna be a 26, because by the time the paperwork and everything goes through. So, I probably won't get that till probably early next week.
okay. But the offer has been made to do this, the discussion point, to all of council is your approval to move forward on it. So we started the process based on their recommendation, but council will have to tell us that they're okay to do that.
well, my question is, 2 single applications for 50,000 total.
Right.
I think it's great to get money for everybody, but where do you think you're gonna come up with for 2 police cars, the balance of the vehicles?
Yeah, it's gonna be more,
Where,
a police car, you're looking, just a
56
car itself is $50,000 to
we
$60,000.
spent $56,000 on the new one we got, just one, after it was
I thought it was
outfitted
more.
on-
I
No.
thought that email from,
It might have been 62, after it was completely done.
yeah, I got,
For
no,
the,
I
for
got
the
it.
state-related LSA one?
No.
No,
When
the,
we bought,
no, the
when we
email
bought
that
the-
I'm sorry, Tony. The email I got, and I think I forwarded to you, was in $100 and some thousand
Okay.
for 2 vehicles.
So, the vehicles are gonna leave 60 grand we paid for the one new one we
Yeah.
got, okay, after it was totally equipped. Okay, I think that's fantastic, you're submitting grants for 50,000, but where do you plan on coming up with the other $60,000 for the equip them and pay for them?
The question that I had with them was this enough of a grant to move ahead with?
Maybe one vehicle.
Well, then for one is what I said, and I think we might be having to look at that.
But that's not even enough for one.
Well,
We're-
we're getting
we're-
close, but, yeah.
Close
It-
is no cigar, if I said, like I said, we spent 62,000, I know, on that new vehicle after it was detailed and everything, and I think that's fantastic, we're going for more, things like that. But again, I'm gonna come up and say, where do you think where are we coming up with the rest of the money to do this when it's not budgeted?
Well, let me check tomorrow again with the enterprise program to see if it's,
I think this is it here. This is a,
it's cheaper.
Enterprise E-Grant System.
Right,
It's $125,000
okay, I'm sorry then, okay.
for 2.
For 2.
That's $70,000. Where are we gonna,
That's for the grants. I
That's
think
the
that's
grant.
That's the grant.
So the $60,000 is not correct, it's 100 and how much?
$125.
Yes.
125?
Under that first submission that they made.
Yes, 125 for 2 vehicles.
Then they
Uh,
came back and talked about that, I think we're gonna go with the 125.
Yeah, that was early June,
Okay.
was that email.
So is this number wrong?
So what they needed us to do was to come up with the information on what we would need to purchase and equip, and then come back and talk to them.
So is this number incorrect?
I think that it is, John, yes.
Okay. And what
Yeah.
should it be?
Well, no, wait,
But-
understand, they're not saying they're gonna give us $125,000.
that.
We can apply for up to $125,000. We need to come up with the vehicle and the cost and all those different things.
That's where we're at with it, is to determine that.
If we can get all that
They-
together, we'll make the
They gave us a base
application.
figure of 50, Mayor, is basically
Yeah.
what, so we're working
Okay.
to start the process with that, but we feel, and in talking with them, they feel that this is a pretty good thing, that it's not a competitive grant program, they're gonna award.
Mhm.
So if we substantiate it, at least 50, but, you know,
Yeah, 'cause you-
125. And then we can't move, Councilman, until your approval, so that's the whole key.
Okay, so let's take it that next step and say you're only doing one car, and you're applying for 50,000.
I think we'll go more, is what I'm
Hey,
saying.
if
Now,
we- if we
you
could grab
guys
more-
review this and say we can go for more without any cost on our part, we'll do that.
Yeah,
But
that-
you said you were submitting this tomorrow.
No, we were initially planning to do so. I was waiting to get that estimate back, and I talked to Nina the other day, yesterday actually. She's not gonna be able to get the estimate done till early next week.
So I can clarify then the parameters of it, and then also get this information so we can get it into the single application and
Yeah.
go from there.
This is confusing.
Okay, that's, no, you're fine, yeah.
Ernie wants tear gas.
Cheaper than that.
I'm just,
The, bottom line is, we don't have the money to get the car, we don't get the car.
yeah,
Right.
that's it.
That's
That's
the
the
bottom
bottom
line.
line,
yeah.
They either fund it enough to get the car, or they don't,
Yeah, that's,
and that's
They-
pretty
they-
easy equation.
They wanna see our submission, and then, yeah, you're absolutely right, Mayor. So at a base, they would say 50, but if we could go into the 125, but it's based on what we submit,
okay,
and do it properly. And
Fine
then get
with me.
approval of council.
yeah.
Good question.
Okay, is there any more further discussion on that? The next one talks about the upcoming, this is local LSA grant, I believe?
The county, local.
The county,
sheriff,
local sheriff, which opens up
July 1st.
July 1st, so it's open now, and it runs for a period of a month, 2 months,
Through September.
through September. This is one that we need to get the fire department on board with, we need to get the police department on board with, we need to put all together a wish list and
Question, Mayor.
and put
Sorry-
together something.
Sorry to interrupt, did anything from last year already come in yet? Like the trucks that we applied for, that hasn't?
No, it hasn't
The
been released.
statewide haven't, they won't come in till
Fall.
probably October, November. For the
Okay, but we've
statewide.
been approved for that
The
already?
local share has been approved,
Okay, but the
and
state
we're-
stuff, has that been approved
No,
yet?
not yet.
not yet,
Okay,
not
okay.
yet. It's
Sorry.
in
I didn't wanna jump the gun, I just wanted to ask.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Sorry.
In talking with our local representatives, I think we're probably looking in the neighborhood of about 35,000.
Yes.
So, that puts a cap on people's wish list. The next one has to do with, people speeding in town, and I've talked about that numerous times. We gotta slow down. This is craziness that people are doing around town. We've got a request in from, our Mont Raver plan. There's also a problem with people that are coming from the dump and going down, coming up Grand and turning on State Road and getting to the 70.
Just as the chief was mentioning before in a previous email, do we have to make the appropriate motions for Montraver, since it's technically not considered?
We'll have to
highway?
update the city's ordinance.
Okay, so can we do that by next meeting?
Well, you
Yeah,
I mean,
The
you can,
first reading.
it'll be the first
first
reading.
reading for.
I think that,
The next meeting's the voting meeting.
it's definitely open.
It's always open, isn't it?
Just out of curiosity, are speed bumps allowed in Menneson? I understand there's an ordinance against it.
There's an ordinance against it.
That's what I've been told. Is that true?
Would have to look.
Okay.
That would be the first time I've seen speed bumps outlawed by local ordinance.
Okay.
The problem with speed bumps is you're gonna have plow trucks,
Yeah.
Well, if there's plastic speed bumps, it can be moved around too, so,
and that's just adding on to the 4th Street Department getting,
yeah. I tell you, people gotta start slowing down though. We have semi trucks that are going 60 miles an hour down Grand. All over town, it's a problem. We've gotta get people to slow down. We can, it's just gotta slow down. those aren't the people that are speeding, it's the people. Passenger cars doing that, but it's the semis that are going to the dump that are causing a lot of the problem. Looking for a shortcut to the 70. With Pro Waste, it's a whole bunch of them.
Yes, it is. Yes. Ernie School Driver.
Not very good with how he parks out front.
One of the issues that I think that we need to look at is 9th Street. 9th Street is back the way that it originally was many years ago. But people still don't understand that you don't cross double yellow lines. When it says a stop sign, you gotta stop, you gotta look around, pay attention to what's around you before you go. There may need to be some additional signage up there before people understand it.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I agree with that, and that's why, I wanted to, even just not say it's simple, but the Montraver one, when I emailed everyone, regarding, getting maybe a speed limit decrease up there. I drove through there at 15 miles an hour. It's not a lot of kids playing up there. And since they paved it, not so much in Menneson, but everywhere you get a freshly paved road, it turns into a speedway.
Right.
So, and that's why, a couple of the residents came to me, asked about the speed up there, posting safety signage, and everyone's favorite resident up there called me about the one-way street. So, yeah. That's why I was.
Should be 15, yeah.
We have several roads in town that are that way too.
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to suggest you put together a list of signs that you would suggest, and we can talk about that at our next meeting.
I think you might be done now,
I
Chief.
think I'm done.
Yes.
Until the next time I call you.
Survive. Sorry, it's too late now.
All right, the next one is the discussion of repair details and logistics for the repair of truck number 4. That's not
You
truck
skipped
number 8,
one.
is that correct?
You skipped one.
Did I skip one?
AED device.
Ah, AED devices. Does anybody have a clue of how much AED devices cost?
$80 a month.
How much?
$80 a month.
$80 a month?
I think, I don't know, I just looked at Joey's paper.
Right.
I really don't know.
I just looked at it, I was just reading through it, where'd it go?
This
I think
is,
Joy printed out,
this is for one to be placed at the, city garage.
Yes, question.
here we go. The adult AED runs $87 a month, currently at City Hall and the Civic Center.
Okay. Excuse me? Wow, that is fantastic. That's fantastic.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's great. That's great news. We will definitely accept that.
Yeah, thank you.
This is not a voting session.
It can be.
So, next, okay, anybody wanna talk more about the AED device? That sounds like that put an end to that discussion. A good one. Next one is the discussion of details on logistics and repair of truck number 4.
8?
It says 8, but I believe it's
4?
number 4. It's T8, but it's number 4. Does that make any sense to anybody? It doesn't to me, but I believe that's
Is
the
that
case.
the blue one?
This is one of our 2015, of which we have 5 of them. It's one that has a significant issue to the tune of just shy of $5,000, $4,500 to fix it. We, to be honest, that's a lot of money, and I don't really know what to say about that. We fix it, we've got to have it for the plowing of the roads. That's what it's used for primarily. It's used for other. We had it running last year too. The point being is that it's used throughout the year, but the primary use is in the wintertime when it's definitely required for plowing. If you go and buy a new truck, we all know that that's quite expensive. You spend $90,000 or more, really easy. And if you were to finance that over 4 or 5 years, you're looking at payments in the neighborhood of about $2,500 a month just to finance it. And the only reason why I say that, and I'm not suggesting that we finance it, don't get me wrong, that's not at all what I'm saying. If you compare the cost of repairing a vehicle, you got to be careful because this is $4,500. If you look at that vehicle, historically, we spend somewhere in the neighborhood of about $3,000 to $4,000 per year on all of our vehicles. I'm not sure we're really budgeting those appropriately, but that's what they're costing us historically, is about $3,000 to $4,000 a year in maintenance cost. If you look at nationally, that typically runs about 6 to 12, so we're significantly less than what the national is. All I'm saying is we can not do anything. We'll run into problems this winter. We can fix this truck one way or the other, or we can start looking at buying a new one. But any way you look at it, it's tough, tight economics that we're faced with.
I think we need to start looking into leasing.
That may be an option. Well, we can find out what the cost is, but I bet you it's going to be in the neighborhood of about $2,500 a month. To lease. It's going to be about the same price as financing. We're just talking right now. We're not talking about buying or anything. If you bought a vehicle, it'd cost you about $2,500 a month to buy it, to finance over 5 years. If you were to lease that vehicle, I haven't got a number on that, but I would suspect it's going to be very similar to that same price. So there's not a cheap way to solve this problem. We spend, since we started our requisition system, which is now 2.5 years old, we spent $145,000 on repairing vehicles in this city. That's police cars, that's dump trucks, that's all the vehicles that we've got in the city. That's a lot of money, but that's also 2.5 years. Anyway, you want to talk about any more, or you want to just keep on moving?
Well, is there the ability to put in for coming up here for an LSA grant for one new truck?
Well, we've been told that the LSA grant will be in the neighborhood of about $35,000 from the county. ARP money. It's gone.
We saved ARP money for 2.5 years. Yeah, I wouldn't let anybody spend it, so we just in case had it, and it paid for a truck.
Paid a police car and it paid for the dump truck. This may become, I don't know for a fact that this can happen, but it may become one of the projects that recommendations that we seek with the STAMP program too, and we may becomes a project.
I'd rather not use that resources on a truck.
I don't know if you can or not.
I'd rather not.
Okay. The bottom line is we're gonna have an issue with the truck. It's limited choices we have.
That brings you down to 4 trucks, am I correct?
That's correct. Nope, it's a used vehicle. You go fix your car, there's no guarantee. You may get a guarantee on that it's not, the same thing won't break, but something else will break. There is a very high maintenance cost for these trucks. There's no doubt about that. It's expensive to maintain a big 2-ton dump truck. It just is. We run into this issue a couple times a year, every year, and will for a long time. The big thing is that we have 4 of the vehicles that were bought at the same time back in 2015, brand new. They were paid through for or liquid fuels, I do believe, but they hamstrung the city for many years just paying for them. But the problem is you got 4 of them that are getting used all the time, and when one breaks, you're down to 3. It's not like we buy one every 3 or 4 years and we replace one every 3 or 4 years.
Question, what's wrong with this truck again?
It's got a rear end that's bad, transmission has got problems. I don't remember the complete list. 2015. Truck 4. The axle's
Do we
bent.
have anything going on for preventative maintenance?
We do. That's what we have a mechanic for, and he keeps logs of all the oil changes and all the normal maintenance is done. But that doesn't help when you have a broken axle. It's got, well, there's no doubt. We cannot use that vehicle in the shape that it's in. You got a bank account? Give me your checkbook. Well, anyway,
That's a tough one.
that's a tough one. It's one that we're gonna have to work our way through. We can kick the can down the road as long as you want, but it doesn't fix the truck.
No, we have to do it soon.
Gonna have to do it soon. So let's move on. The next one is the Kubota tractors. These are all our Parks Department. This one is another unique issue. This one is one that the bed on the truck has completely busted on it. They want to replace. Can you explain that a little bit better about what's going on? Who's here? Do you know more about that, Delmar? Yeah. There's. Come to use this microphone because it doesn't doesn't become part of. Come on. I'm just take it to him.
I don't know why you're shy.
Okay, Kubotas. I think the 2 newest ones were bought about 4 years ago, something like that. But the problem with the tractors is with the parks that we have so many. I mean, anyone in this room really realize how many parks we have. They're non-stop used. So they're non-stop used, they're non-stop beat up, and eventually you're only going to get 5 or 6 years out of them unless you have continuous maintenance on them. And I don't know if that's been.
Do you understand what Dustin was talking about doing with this by getting a new bed on one of them?
Yeah, getting a new deck on it.
Right.
The deck is you could either keep dumping hundreds and hundreds of dollars every couple of weeks into the deck and pulley systems, or just replace the deck versus the machine's probably worth about $22,000, I think, and a new deck is, did he tell you $3,500, I believe?
Somewhere
for
in that neighborhood,
a new
yes.
deck on it. So, I think if you get the new deck, you're going to get more years out of it versus dropping $22,000 on it. 2 of them that we have, the Zero Turn and the other Parks tractor, to be honest, I wouldn't put a penny in them. They're shot. They're completely shot. It's everyday maintenance, or I shouldn't even say maintenance, it's repairs every day just to keep them on the road. But I think we definitely need 2 somehow or some way to keep us cutting grass.
Okay.
So, that brings me to a question. We talk about the 9 parks and places that are getting cut. Ernie, leave it with Delmar for a second, because he might have to answer. Go ahead. Okay. Is any of the ground flat? None in a park?
Meaning to not have a four-wheel drive tractor, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. You have zero turning radius that aren't four-wheel drives, they're zero turning radius.
Yeah, but there's only certain spots they can be used in.
Okay.
Ball fields, stuff like
And
that,
you're
big
cutting
open
that,
areas.
correct, with the zero turning radius?
I'm sorry?
You're cutting those with the zero turning radius?
Yes.
Now, so why can't we for $12,000 or $13,000 get you a zero turning radius John Deere or something that you could use just in low areas that will replace some of those instead of putting $5,000 into a deck? I'm more apt to say, I can authorize $11,000 and get a new John Deere or something like that, that's a zero turning radius, that you just use on flat areas.
Long as it's a commercial grade tractor, are you saying it's a commercial grade? Because if you do not have a commercial grade tractor, like I just paid $3,500 for a new Cub Cadet at Tractor Supply. I would use that one day in the city of Menneson, it'd be shot. Because it's just not built to sustain what we do with them.
But I would push back and say, yeah, it should work if you're doing ball fields or something like that, because those are supposed to be flat and pristine areas. You can't, I'm not saying you are, but you can't be running over rocks, bricks, and everything else with them, of course. But again, if two tractors for 10 or 11 grand each suffice and pull two old ones that are no good out of the service, we're down the road better off that way. But I was told one time, long time ago, that under no circumstances can we use zero turning radius tractors in the city of Menneson. And I'm gonna push back hard on all of you and say why.
In most cases, you cannot.
And I'm gonna ask
Even if
why.
you went just along Schoonamaker Avenue here, in Second Street above John Nestor's, with four-wheel drive, cutting those lots above Schoonamaker, I've slid backwards down across traffic with a four-wheel drive tractor.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, perhaps we need to have one or two specific tractors for those purposes that only cut the grass in those areas where a four-wheel drive is needed.
That's most
I
of the
don't, I don't have a
places.
problem with zero-turn tractors whatsoever, if you had one or two of them, but you still need the two four-wheel drive ones, which we have right now.
That's what I'm saying, but it's a lot easier to turn around and say you used a four-wheel drive in the areas you need to know, make sure you don't slide until we can maybe replace one next year and replace a complete one. I don't want, nor can we afford 20, and I'm not saying this specifically as a number, 22 to 25 grand for a Kubota all-wheel drive or whoever it is, okay? And it's cut in a flat area in a ballpark. We need to be smarter than that.
Right, well, the one zero-turn strictly does parks. It doesn't do the street side of it.
And that's the one that's ready to shot almost?
That's the one that's shot, yeah.
Well, again, I have no problem going up to Lowe's for $12,000 and getting a zero-turn commercial and have it for you tomorrow morning, and you use it just for ballparks and things like that. That makes more sense for money we spend on something as an overkill everywhere else. We're gonna have to systematically decide, this area gets this area gets this. I know it's a pain, but would you prefer having newer equipment than stuff that you have to duct tape together?
Again, I understand what you're saying, but, again, this is above my pay scale. I'm just giving my opinion here. But, you know, if that's what you wanna buy, a zero-turn, that's fine with me, as long as we get a new tractor. The one we have now is probably days away from finished completely.
Well, again, that's my point.
Yeah.
My point is looking at something like that is a lot more feasible.
Yeah, you still need it, yeah. Yeah, but still, even if you ordered the new zero-turn, you're still gonna need a new deck on the other tractor to keep it on the road.
That's
So-
doable, but at least we're replacing one year and trying to get you something.
Right, yeah, that sounds like a good policy.
Any further discussion about that?
No, Mayor, I just have a quick question. Some of the properties that, like Chief Heppel was talking about, that he needs 4x4, they're redevelopment properties. So, we need to sit down with the redevelopment authority and figure out how they're gonna start liquidating these properties. Because it's starting to become a strenuous, an economic burden on the city.
Yeah.
And they do so much for us, and I get that, but, I mean, it's starting to wear us very thin. It's eating our vehicles up.
And we probably need to sit down and look
And
at,
what do we get in return?
We probably need to sit down and look at who owns all the property and do exactly that.
Well, so far the properties that Delmar was mentioning, they're all redevelopment, and a lot of the properties that we're cutting are redevelopment, and I have nothing against redevelopment, please don't think that.
Many of them are land bank properties though, is what I'm saying.
That, some of them are, yeah, too, but I mean, a
The
lot of
land
the
bank
ones
we're
that are-
responsible for.
Like, the ones downtown, that he's having issues with, they slipping, that's all redevelopment. We need to see maybe what they're planning on doing with
I
it.
thought
can
the
talk to 'em.
I thought the redevelopment authority was cutting their own lots.
I don't know if they are or not.
They're
We can
not.
talk to them.
We are.
Why are we cutting the lots? Well, last time, and that was a couple of years ago, Lou said that they had the money, that they were getting people to do the lots.
We ought to talk to them again and see if they can resume that operation.
Or see if maybe they're willing to trying to find buyers or something for these properties,
Right.
you know? Or at
Well-
least some of the neighbors that live by that maybe wanna buy it, like
Yeah,
the one.
everybody's trying to do that.
Well, you got one property that's downtown that's behind the Ravens that's used for parking lots.
Right.
Or I would
How
ask,
is that economically growth for us?
It's not.
or I would ask you to turn around and approach the redevelopment authority and ask them, okay, if you can't cut the lots, and they've sold properties and done a little bit better than they used to do before, they have some money, are they open to make a donation for maybe a partial, half of the new tractor of what it's gonna cost to replace one of the four-wheel drives? If, $10,000 from them may be able to be doable, and we put the other 15 in, and now you got a brand-new tractor, we solved everything.
Wonderful
Perfect.
idea.
I have no.
That'd be a good idea. If
I think they got more than 10,000.
If Lou would be okay
Yeah, they
with
do,
I
I think
think
they've been
that-
smart, and they've been selling some property, and they've been managing it very well, and I think it's time that we ask them to step up and say, look, can you make us half a donation, and we'll pay the other 60% for a new tractor, and get them on the road and get them doing what they need to do.
I think Bishop Bass would be very receptive to that.
about a redevelopment lot, you gotta realize that's where a house was torn down, a building was torn down. You got concrete blocks, you still got steps in place.
There's not,
Well-
it's not a clean fill or any of that, no.
I'll be honest with you, and I don't,
That's where most of the damage to the tractor.
Comes from.
well, I'll be honest with you, and I know everybody in this room is not gonna like this answer, but I'm gonna give it to you anyways. Don't cut it. Do not cut lots that have rocks, stones, bricks, and anything. I don't give a damn if they grow 4 feet high. That's a safety hazard for you on the tractor, and it's a safety hazard for the equipment we're getting beat to hell. You know what? I'm sorry.
The one I told you about on Second Street, you beat Second, there's no way any more guys should be cutting.
No, you shouldn't be doing any.
One day it almost got killed back.
I would say let that grow.
Let it grow and do not, and
Let it
don't start
grow.
doing that stuff. And if anything, we can make some arrangements. I know many, many years ago, and it got shot down for some reason, but the county, the city looked into, I wasn't on council, but the city looked into contacting the state prisons. And they actually had a program where their inmates
They
came
don't
up.
have it anymore.
They don't have it?
Called, no.
Oh, don't
It's
they?
gone. Nope.
Hmm.
Yep.
We got a local guy that used to run that program, Dino from the north, he's since passed away. And ever since he passed away, the program went down.
Okay.
He knew the area, that's why they allowed him to bring him down here, he's familiar with the area, and, it went well for us for years.
But I'll be honest with you, right now, I would say, you go into those lots that have bricks and fill, no, you don't take our stuff in them. I don't care, you don't take your stuff in 'em. Especially since if someone's they're cutting the grass, they get knocked over and this blade hits a brick and someone's walking past and gets killed on it. Again, do not cut the grass.
The only downside to that I see is that we're gonna start getting complaints from people with rodents and whatnot. that
Then
start
you know what
stuff-
we do? Let's look into spraying the lots completely and killing everything.
That's probably a good idea.
But the one lot
I didn't
that,
say Roundup,
the
they
one
have
lot
the,
that
they have the new
Chief
stuff
Heppel's
that's
talking about,
safety.
that hill is on a dangerous hill in Freedom. I wouldn't
Heppel.
even cut it, maybe
So let
spray
me ask
maybe,
you,
but it's very
would
dangerous.
you-
I've seen him
I'm
slip
not
a few,
arguing with you.
yeah, I've seen him slip a few times on it, it's dangerous.
If you had a pair of your high boots, waders, okay, and you had a commercial sprayer on your back, and you had a mouth protection, and you were able to spray with the non-chemical, the new stuff that's out there that's beating Roundup's ass all over the place, we can knock it down and just kill the grass. Once a year.
But then when you do that, because I'm getting to ready to get on the sewage authority for my hillside, not my hillside, but the hillside they report, because if you do not cut the grass here, and I am a witness to that, we would be covered. You would not be able to get on a sidewalk,
If you
go
spray
down
it,
a road or anything.
you can spray it, that you have no, you can kill the grass. I mean, it doesn't have to be Roundup, but there's the new,
Even vinegar works.
you still just kill the grass. If it's something they did once a year. They do the exact same thing, and tell me if I'm wrong, they do the exact same thing on the interstates and the highways when PennDOT goes through. The places where they can't cut, they spray it. They never do anything with it.
Right, but you just made a point. Since Donner and Schoonamaker are state roads, you should go to the state and tell them to get you the proper tools you need to cut that hillside.
Or would the
Yeah,
state
but
do it because that's
their
state
roads are
road?
perfectly fine that they pay for. Right.
But there's options out there I think we should look at that may solve some of our problems.
But Tony, you need to drive around, there is not a flat space except a ball field in the city of Menneson. Everything is a hill or a low. And you cannot go down on that
We gotta start somewhere, Linda.
tractor day, cause you will tip over on that.
Okay, let's move on. It's time to pay some bills. Tony, would you please pay some bills for the city?
Make a motion to pay the following invoices from the general fund in the amount of $45,187.05.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the Parks Fund account in the amount of $2,050.10.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from line usage in the amount of $19,037.76.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the grant fund in $13,199.60.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from liquid fuels fund in the amount of $6,980.43.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the rec fund in the amount of $1,128.78.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
Motion to approve the transfer of $74,941.18 from the general fund to payroll account.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
Motion to transfer from the general account $67,280.70 to CFS Bank for the TAN note balance. Balance to be over $67,000 after the remaining transfer.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
Motion to transfer $2,600 from the general fund to the healthcare fund.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
Motion to approve sewage rehabilitation project phase 3, payment requisition and a certificate number 33 in the amount of $331,120.38 for phase 3 work performed by WC Engineers, Inc. from June 1st, 2025 through June 27th, 2025 in the amount of $50,680. As an invoice from Insight Pipe Contracting LLC for work performed from June 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2025 for the amount of $280,440.38.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? I'd just like to point out that's a lot of money in one motion.
I've spent more.
Call the roll, please.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
Motion to pay the PNC account in the amount of $51,063.08 for reimbursement from the debt service account to begin June 30th, 2025 and will continue quarterly in the amount of $51,063.08.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner,
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
And Ernie's not here, so it doesn't make a difference. Debt service has $781,374.16. Fire escrow has $108,698.88. General fund has $1,459,113.52. Grant fund has $158,216.85. Healthcare fund is $5,329.93. Line usage has $830,942.62. Liquid fuels has $191,697.68. Parks has $118,642.83. Payroll has $9,345.87. Recreation has $2,396.90. Refuge has $330,428.54. As noted before, the balance of the TAN note after this transfer will be around $67,000, and it'll be paid off. And the paving count has $154,636.60. Mayor, that's my report.
Thank you. This time I'd like to call upon, do we have Lois Thomas's report?
I would do Lois's report, but I don't see it.
I didn't see it either.
Yeah,
Next meeting.
She
Okay.
wanted to do it next week, I believe, so that's what
Okay, perfect. At that point, this time I'd like to ask John Nestor for his report.
Thank
Yes.
you, Honorable Mayor, members of council, administrative staff, citizens of Menneson. I will be rescinding my report until the next council meeting. I have nothing else further to discuss since it's been discussed previously. I will yield the floor. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Karen, do you have anything for the council?
I don't have a report, but I do have some announcements to make.
Okay?
I wanted to make everybody aware that Menneson Night Out is scheduled for August 12th, 5 to 8 at the high school. If you would like one of these beautiful flyers that the chief gave me to hang in your facility, I have some there. I also want to let you know that I think that our first concert went really well. We're speculating maybe there were about 350 to 400 people there. The next concert will be Sunday, July 20th, and that is a big band concert. So if you would like to volunteer to help, please let me know. We need some help. We have a whole list of things that maybe we could do better this time. Again, I have some flyers if you would like to hang them up. And then as a reminder, next Wednesday, July 16th, from 2:30 to 5:30, there's gonna be a mobile, farmer's market down at 1 Wendell Ramey Lane in Menneson at the other end of town. So the cars will go by, every car will be eligible for a 20-pound, box of food. We're hoping, I think it's fresh fruits and vegetables,
yes.
is that what we were told? So we're looking forward to that, that's next Wednesday,
And everybody's eligible. There's no restrictions
2:30 to 5:30.
till we run out of food.
Till we run out, we have 500 boxes of food.
Where's this at?
So if you're there
Old
first,
in front of the old Eastgate building.
yeah, so that's coming up. And then I,
Do you wanna help?
That's a Wednesday.
Yep.
Wednesday,
This Wednesday coming up?
yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah,
16th.
That's
I mean,
two-
we've been talking about this before, but it seems like all of a sudden things are here. It's next week.
Yeah,
And we're
next
hoping to
Wednesday.
have another one in the fall, so I think this will go really well.
It
You
has in
can-
the past, and it's a lot of fun too, if anybody from council wants to be there.
Yeah, I think it'll be nice. And I wanted to discuss, boat launch cleanup. At the last meeting, Jordan Pop was here and he was commenting on what it looked like down there. So I talked to Rodney, and for the most part, and I sent everybody photos of it, they cleared up most of the logs and everything that were, if you're walking down the boat launch to the left, it was just a huge log jam that was caused by, our river runs north, so when that water starts flowing, it deposits all the wood. But I contacted a group called Three Rivers Waterkeepers, and their goal was to work with the Monongahela, the Ohio, and the Allegheny, asking for advice. How can we keep this clean? And I know, Rodney even suggested building a structure or a boom that can act as a deflector so that debris doesn't get caught in the docks and everything. But then you have to think, you need really expert advice to do that. You might think it's a good idea and you build it and it actually exacerbates the problem. So I asked if they knew of anybody who's done this before to come here and look at our situation and maybe give us some advice. But it does look a lot better, and the guys are continuing to work on it, so I hope Jordan goes down there and looks at it and, thinks that they did a great job.
So what's the purpose of that inlet in the, is there a purpose for that little pool there? Or is that where they just sit and finish?
Well, I think that's a natural thing when you have the part that goes out.
That's what I.
On that end, there's two other sets of docks that were projecting, and over time,
Right.
these got bigger.
That's what Rodney told me, yeah.
Maybe it would help if you put a net over there.
Again, we have to have advice from somebody who's done this before, just to make sure we do the right thing.
Oh, you as Army Corps of Engineers.
Well, this group, that's what they do, so at least that's a start. I hope that maybe somebody can come down and visit us and give me some advice on how to fix it.
You know, 'cause I would like to sit in on that meeting if they come.
Okay. And a few weeks ago, I, had gotten a call and an invitation to I'm waiting.
Come on, guys, pay attention. Go ahead.
To visit a Hilltop Fire Department, and I met with a couple of young firefighters. I think they're here today, Mike and Mason. And they sent me photos, and I sent to everybody to look at them. And also, although you probably couldn't see it, it was tiny, was a whole list of issues, which every building that we have in this town, we have a whole list of issues. So I said, what, if you had to prioritize, what would you want done first? And they would really like to have their shower fixed so that the guys could take a shower before they go home to their families. You figure they're out fighting fires, and who knows what kind of chemicals are in those buildings, and they have to get in their car and they go home to their families. If they have little kids and everything, and then they decontaminate at home. And they had told me before that they'd gotten an estimate for someone, and they could fix that, get that shower fixed for less than $1,000. And I told them, like, we don't really have a lot of money. Yes, and they said, well, we'd be willing to maybe have a boot drive if you permitted us to get it fixed. And that's what I bring to you. Do we have any problem with them having a fundraiser and getting this shower fixed so they can get a shower before they go home?
I don't see an issue, but my thing is I'd like that list to be forward, so when we're applying for these grants, we can maybe use these grants
Yeah.
to fix the facility, since it is our property.
Mike, can you send me, another copy of this, like a Word document, so I can send it to everybody? 'Cause what you sent me was real tiny, and then when I sent it on, you really couldn't read it. So if they send it to me, I'll forward it to you, and maybe we can look at this, because these are major issues. And these guys, every time they go out and fight a fire, they take their lives in their hands. So I think we owe it to them to try to take some of these things off the list. But they said if they can get that shower fixed for less than $1,000, and they have a boot drive to do it, do we have a problem with that?
I don't see an issue.
Financially, no. Logistically, yes. Meaning you can't get somebody that would do it for $1,000 to do it on our property, that they're not insured and everything else.
Oh, no, you have to get an insured.
We can't,
Plumber.
that's gonna be the issue.
Well, if it is an insured person,
Quote,
okay,
I need a quote.
All right, have to
Well,
get a quote.
wait, if they do it, can they affect the changes on their own and sidestep that? It's their money.
It's our building.
That's our building.
It's our
We own the
I understand it, but I'm saying, do they need to give the money to our treasury department and then we do a requisition?
No, no.
Just-
Fundraiser for that. Really, seriously.
I would think if there was,
I think if there has,
We gotta make this easy, and we need to promote that, as a city, we need to promote their fundraising.
I get that, but I kinda feel embarrassed that they're doing a fundraising for a property that we own.
That's true.
so
That's
my,
embarrassing.
right, so my point is, let's take the shower situation off the table, and we get it fixed. They don't do any bootstrapping for the things that, they do what they do for what they need to do. That's our facility, we can do the shower even if it's $2,500, but the point is, we can't just have somebody that knows somebody to do it.
Just like
We
this,
can't.
it's a safety hazard.
I don't care if I care if it's a safety hazard, but again, if somebody goes in there that can do the work and they're not licensed and insured and everything, and something happens, it'll cost us 10 times the amount it would've cost to fix it.
But you think
The one of the,
Well-
it's gonna get somebody to fix it.
Can we facilitate that though? Can
Yeah,
we
well,
We need
start
to
the process?
facilitate
Okay.
that. We need to, we don't need a bid, I mean, that's,
Tony wants to fix it, we need to go out and find someone, so
Yeah.
that's
Okay,
it.
so whatever we have to do to get those bids, we can take care of it.
Well, if that'd be short amount of, money, we don't need a bid, we just need quotes.
Okay.
No, we don't need
just
quotes. We
go get the quotes, let them go in there and find out what it is, and by next council meeting, you could have it approved and they start it.
Okay. All right, that was the number one thing. Then another issue, if you drive by their house, you've noticed their truck has been in the driveway. Have you anybody wondered why? Well,
I
that,
thought they were just washing it.
well, maybe they did, but that's really not the reason. When you walk in there, that portion of the floor has sunk. It sank about this much, and what they're afraid of, if they pull that heavy truck in again, it could take it down even further. And you don't want that because they don't even really know.
I would now suggest on that, not to cut you off, but we need to get Tony up there then, our engineer, to look at the stability of the building and look at the infrastructure of the building.
I gotta ask people a question.
Because if it's laying down like that, and they're afraid to put a vehicle in there, then what's to say, what's the integrity of the property?
We have a structural integrity.
Well, that building has several of them. You'll see when you get this.
So I'd maybe suggest to have Tony and K2 Engineering go up and take a look at the property.
Can I ask people a question? When they start using the wading pool up there, was there water in there that's underground, that's connected to the garage?
I think they used the dirt when they added the third
Mhm.
floor to fill in the wading pool. I think it had a drain in it, I don't think there was water. They just took the dirt that they dug the third
I
bay.
think the engineering solution is the right way to go.
And another issue, after those last rains that we had, water and sewage came up through the drains. And I was there in the aftermath of it, after they had cleaned it up, and I sent pictures and y'all can see the water all over the floor. Now, they also have a leak in the roof, I mean, as with all of our buildings, but we have to start someplace. So I think if we can start knocking some of these things off, we have to do it.
You said
Well, we can get the engineer to go in, itemize these problems
Right,
and take a
and
look
get
at
an
it
expert's
and
opinion.
come back with this best solution for us.
Well, it is, and again, it's a safety issue, but I wanted to bring that to everybody's attention because it is a major issue. That building is old, but it's a historic building. It would be nice to be able, if we have extra money, if we can write grants and find ways to get this building repaired, that would be really nice to be able to start crossing this list off. So, that's that. And then, we have, with the other concert coming up, we have, there's gonna be a payment to Equipment Connection for $175 for the golf cart, which was really needed. My son drove it and he said, we need two. But we have one, and, we get a $50, rebate back if we take it filled with gas. And then CJ Wren Music will provide the sound at a cost of $500 instead of the $1,500 that the other company charged us, because with this big band, you don't need quite the same sound.
One thing that needs changed, and I requested it being changed and it hasn't happened yet, is the donations and the grant money you've got for all that stuff is not in a separate line account where I requested it to be.
It's in the parks account, but
Well, it shouldn't be in the parks account.
where should it be?
It should be in an account that says donations, because I don't want it pulling out of, when you can't see it and it's out of sight, out of mind, it can easily get moved and used somewhere.
So,
If it's,
that's their money though.
no, it's not their money, it's a donation to the city, and it's being used specifically for stuff in the parks. Parks has its own budget to use tractors and do things. I'm sorry, that's the way it goes.
does Linda do that?
I'm sorry? Yes,
Okay.
yes. That is correct, because we won't be able to track it.
Mike, you wouldn't mind being able to do that for us, would you please?
Making that change
Yes,
with Linda?
please.
Absolutely,
Thank
yeah,
you.
sure.
Thank you, Mike.
I think that's all I have, so thank you for listening.
I got one thing I
Thank
wanna
you.
point out that I completely forgot about. I did get an email just today from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Yay is right. They say they will fix the boat ramp. They say they will fix it. There's some property ownership issues that they need to get resolved and make sure that we actually own it and so forth, but I don't see that as a problem.
All you have to do is talk to your, solicitor,
They have their own solicitor that has to be convinced.
or our solicitor should talk to their solicitor.
Right. But anyway, they did agree
Right,
that,
Joe,
they
right.
did agree to fix the boat launch. That does not mean they're talking about the barges, though. That's
Right.
the boat launch.
Well, if they get that fixed, I mean, that's the next phase I was
Right,
on there,
right.
I don't even know who did it,
Right.
first of all.
So anyway, that said,
One thing as an addition, I just wanna point out, because I know it was brought up, and that is about the, dog catcher.
mhm,
And if you look at the contract on the one page, it says the borough, which means city, agrees to pay them the sum of $475 per month.
okay.
It's not quarterly.
Right, but we've been getting bills of $1,500 quarterly.
Well, that's even worse yet. It should be every month.
I understand, but they,
So what I'm saying is, if we're paying them $475 a month,
They need
let's
to
use a leverage to say, what are you doing?
right. And they also have in there itemized what they're doing for that $475.
So,
If they're not doing it,
is that something, Mike, is that something you could look into, please?
mhm.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything?
No, Mayor.
Would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
Mayor, motion to adjourn tonight's meeting Thursday, July 10th at 7:57 PM.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Hey, can you send that Bobbage,
What's that?
the Bobbage letter? This gentleman that was here last time and you asked it.
Oh, yeah, I read that,
Okay, do you wanna keep a copy?
I got